7:17 with a look at traffic. Southbound Highway 65 slowing up at Blue Oaks Boulevard. And you will stay slow as you transition to I-80 westbound. And pretty much slow all the way through Roseville until you pass Riverside. And then things pick up just a bit. A crash right now. Westbound 80 at Madison. And up Highway 50 way, an accident westbound 50 at El Dorado Hills Boulevard. Traffic brought to you by our friends at ZeroResSacramento.com. To the phone now, here is Dan. What's up, Dan?
Well, Sean, since we were off yesterday, we got to do the Chicago shooting report. 18 shot, 3 dead in that city that is, you know, it's a zombie of a city, if you want to call it that. It doesn't. By the way, I sort of try to take a peek at their election status. They don't seem to have changed at all, as opposed to California. I don't know if anyone has any rebellious spirit here to try to take that city and that state back. But
no,
you know, now that most of the results are in, except for California, which is corrupt as hell, and I think parts of Arizona. I was thinking about what we just witnessed last Tuesday. It was a God-given miracle. You know, I grew up, and I don't talk about religion or God or anything very often on the show, but it is okay in the context of politics. Don't let people say, oh, separation of church and state, shut up about God or religion, whatever. Tell them to shut up.
Wait a minute.
That is part of what politics is.
Yes, well, the only thing, the separation of church, that's not even in the Constitution. All the Constitution says is we are not going to have a state religion. We don't have a state religion. The church is not the government. That's what that means. So
yeah, that's all it means.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all it means.
Exactly.
But the founders clearly had God and his teachings involved in the creation of that. But what we saw again, you know, I grew up, you know, in a Catholic church, and you hear about the parting of the Red Sea and all these other miracles. What we saw was nothing short of God's blessing on the entire nation. That's what I saw, and it was amazing how he was the only one who could have pulled this whole thing off. And
amen.
Well, I mentioned that. Go ahead.
I just said amen.
Yes, amen. Amen to you. But here's the thing.
And a woman.
A woman, yes. Atta boy. You keep the shallowness going here. We'll talk about that in a second. I mention this for this reason here. This mandate, and it is the largest mandate I've seen in my lifetime, even bigger than President Reagan back in the 80s. This mandate spanned the entire nation, every state, and even locally here, where you had people in cities like Oakland saying, we're done. We're done with leftism. I'm looking at this article at California Globe with the Chinese Communist Mayor Sheng Chao. She's gone. She's been ousted, and she's been recalled. That's an act of God. People are saying, we're done. We're done with this. There is an element of decency. Now, this is a golden opportunity for Republicans to recognize this. They're not going to, but to say there's something to work with here. You can make inroads if you make a stand. I've said this over and over and over again ad nauseum. But anyway, I'm just kind of awestruck at the blessing and the miracle we've seen across the nation. It's something we may never see again in our lifetime.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to see it now. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, both houses, you know, the Senate and the House,
right,
and the White House. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either. We'll talk tomorrow more about this, of Trump's picks for his cabinet. Elise Stefanik, I'll start here. She should have been education secretary. The way she handled those university professors who were left-wing and racist as hell, she would have been a perfect fit. But again, we'll expand on more of this tomorrow.
Yes, and she's easy on the eyes too, Dan. So,
oh, yeah, there are a lot of cuties in the administration. I'm not. Yeah.
You are a fine American.
And a shallow Mexican. Shallow Mexican. And a lousy Mexican, and I can't talk right now.
That too. It is 7:14. Hello. Time for a quick look at traffic. We have a crash westbound 50 at the 26th Street turnoff. Traffic backed up on westbound 50 to Bradshaw Road. And coming in from the north, Southbound 5 slowing up at the I-80 interchange. Traffic brought to you by ZeroResSacramento.com. Here now is Dan in Sonoma. What's up, Dan?
Well, Sean, yesterday we said we'd talk about the picks that President Trump is assembling right now and give him huge credit. I mean, he is taking this job extremely seriously, as we all would expect. He's moving at lightning speed to get all these people in place. Some I understand. Like, I don't have a problem with Marco Rubio. But who is it? Gallagher had mentioned Rick Scott. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This guy is a weasel. And this guy's a weakling. This is a guy who said just a few weeks ago, I'm ready, because he knew he was going to win his Senate race. He said, I'm ready to, reach across the aisle and work with Democrats. That is not what the public voted you for. The voting public puts you in office to get the job done. And if you don't realize that Democrats have no intention of working with you, go home. Stay home. This is a horrible pick. This is a weakling. Remember, this is a guy who was in charge of the Senate reelection campaign in 2022. What a dismal failure he was, because, again, he's a weakling. So I'm hoping it's not him, but if it is, it would be par for the course for the big GOP.
Reaching across the aisle.
Yeah, and that's disgusting.
Especially when you have people like Pelosi across the aisle. No.
Just say no. Why?
Just say no. They're not going to work. They're not going to work with you. No compromise.
No, absolutely not.
You can't compromise with these creeps. Sorry.
And who's it? Not Christine Noem. Oh shoot, I lost it on my call up prep where we talked about her yesterday. She was the woman who stood up to all those Ivy League types. She should be education secretary. I think because she's on top of this whole thing, and she knows, because most of these Ivy League presidents are all women, and no better than a strong woman to slap them down. But again, she's going to be UN secretary, so we'll see where this goes. You guys talked about voter fraud. I'm looking at the map here on Fox News. There's still a lot of counties in Oregon, California, and Arizona. If I'm the GOP in each of those states, you send as many people in there as possible to find out what the hell's wrong, what is taking so damn long. I'm just looking. Let's just pop up one here. One is that it's 81% of the vote. Another one is 70% of the vote in. There's no reason for this to take so long. If you send people who could represent the Republican Party and say, demand what is going on, what is taking so long, and break this down. Because, again, we don't know exactly how they're pulling this off. We know they're making new ballots, or who knows. But you need to send people in there immediately to say, like, here's Duarte in District 3, and he is up by 3,000 votes, and 70% of the vote is in. If I'm there, you send lawyers, and you send anyone you can to check out the fraud that we know is happening right before our eyes. We all know this particular one, again, it's Duarte and Gray in District 3. If things go the way we think they're going to go, Duarte will lose thanks to corruption.
Indeed, and I believe the person you were thinking of was Ellie Stefanik, wasn't it?
Yes, Stefanik. Thank you. Couldn't a failure on my part to not put her up on the call-up prep board. But she was dynamite with those Ivy League types, because they were lying through their teeth. And it's women could see other people lying better than you and I can.
Oh, you bet!
It's a gift they have. Yeah,
you bet.
Just ask our wives. When we're lying and we get caught doing something stupid,
yeah,
we're done.
I don't even bother trying. Lying to your wife is just stupid. So,
yes, I have a giant rock outside just to crawl underneath when I get caught.
There you go. Dan, you're a fine American.
And a lousy Mexican. And who knows what else I am.
And we will get into that tomorrow.
All right, thanks, bud.
1-800-655-MIKE. I also have a personal announcement to make from somebody who is a beloved member of our Salem family. And I want to share with you a little bit of an update about Dennis Prager, who you may have heard by now suffered a terrible fall and experienced very, very serious injuries. I'll share with you the latest on that situation. We all have very, very heavy hearts, and we are all anxiously praying for Dennis's recovery. I'll give you an update on that and more coming up here on this Thursday edition of the Mike Gallagher Show.
7:14. Good morning. Time to check in with Dan in Sonoma. What's up, Dan?
Well, I am so happy that John Thune got the Senate Majority role rather than Scott. Scott was just horrible. He would have been a horrible pick. But
what's wrong with him?
So far, so good. Was Scott from Florida?
Yeah.
He's a wimp. He's a complete wimp.
He's not a
and
fighter.
I said yesterday. No, not at all.
Okay.
He was, again, I said just a few weeks ago, he was ready to reach across the aisle and work with Democrats. That's not what he was hired for, and he doesn't understand that.
Reach across the aisle.
What an idiot. Yeah. I'll
hey, Nancy, I'm reaching across the aisle. As
yeah,
she
there
bites
you go.
your hand off.
There you go. If only I could. Anyway, all these picks. Oh, it's hilarious. All CNN, MSNBC are all terrified of the latest pick, and that's Matt Gaetz. He is the evil personified, according to these people. And when they go through the Senate process, they have to get approved through the Senate. Of course, I believe, obviously, it's after the when President Trump gets sworn in. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. But all these people, Kristi Noem, Gaetz, and this guy, Hegseth. I didn't know this guy's Hegseth, by the way. He was a Fox News reporter, but an Army veteran. He had quite a decent career. All they have to do in response to all the knives and rocks and all that they're going to throw at these people is say, look, you have no credibility. Democrats have zero credibility. I mean, with Gaetz' response, by the way, he can just go to Merrick Garland and point out all the things he didn't do and things he did do, all were against the nation's interest. So, again, it's not that difficult. But these websites, again, the CNN.com and MSNBC.com are all having these stories about, oh, he's unqualified, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. That's not true.
Unqualified?
Yeah.
But Kamala Harris was qualified?
There you go. Oh, you
Really?
go down the list.
Really?
You can go down the entire list.
That's very interesting, Dan. And you're right, too. They really don't have any credibility. They're a joke.
That's the best counter weapon to use against these people. Again, it's not that difficult to do. They don't cower in front of these people. They're nothings. The one cabinet, I guess it's a new cabinet, which I wasn't aware of, that President Trump has assembled, and that's the efficiency cabinet. I think I'm kind of paraphrasing. And he put Ramaswamy and what's the name from Elon Musk in charge of that. I'm delighted. I'm hoping one of the reasons why we are so much in debt is because not just of the fraudulent spending, but the complete mismanagement of any department that's run. The government runs. If you want to get something done, a standard company will use 10 people and get the job done very thoroughly. Government will use maybe 250 people and do a lackluster job. And I think that's what.
Sorry, Dan. Do you remember in school when they would break up everybody into groups to do a project, and it would be like there'd be 6 people in the group, and maybe 1 or 2 people would do all the work. That's what the government's like.
If that. I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. So I have high hopes that they will start pointing out things. Weeding out. Let's say you've got 1,000 people in the department. They can say, hey, you know what? You can do this with 350 people. That means 650 people hit the road. Go get a real job.
What?
And that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, this could save this could save hundreds of billions of dollars if they do this correctly.
They waste so much, Dan. They waste so much money. We don't even know the half of it. It's
even
probably worse than we know.
Oh, God, yeah, it'd be obscene if it was actually revealed, which, again, I have high hopes for this department. These 2 men were clearly successful, and they became successful because they're efficient. Now, it's not just streamlining departments that are government-run, eliminating some. There's probably all kinds of departments that, simply aren't needed.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm really putting a lot of faith in these 2, and I'm hoping it will be rewarded.
Well, yeah, the country will hopefully be rewarded. I know you and I will never be rewarded.
Deserve anything.
But in my mind, though, you remain a fine American.
And a lousy American. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the cuties that are accumulating into the Trump administration.
That will be awesome. You have a fine day, Dan.
Thanks, bud.
Take care.
The list goes on. I mean, the media is just so full of it, and they wonder why they're losing.
Yeah. That is exactly right. That's why they lost, and they don't get it.
No. It's
And
like,
so,
shut up. Quit repeating the narrative that they want you to throw out there. The racism isn't working. The attack on the other part, it
means
working.
nothing. It means nothing now, thanks to the left.
Yes.
It just,
anyway.
You might as well just go la, 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 la. Or, it doesn't, it's a tune out. Anyway, Jeff,
Yeah.
I got to
go.
go.
La, 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 la into the weekend. So have a good weekend.
Take care, Jeff. You're a fine American. Thanks. It is 7:14. Happy Friday. A quick look at traffic. A bit of a slowdown now northbound Cap City Freeway right near the split. And still working a disabled vehicle westbound 80, the Yolo Causeway. Traffic backed up to El Camino. Traffic brought to you by our friends at ZeroResSacramento.com. Here now is Dan in Sonoma. What's up, Dan?
Well, this conversation that Gallagher's having, I'm trying to put a label regarding how I feel about it. Either I'm irritated, frustrated, because we had these same conversations over 4 years ago during the pandemic. And now he's sort of bringing this stuff up now. And I guess I understand why, because you've got RFK is the latest hot button from the left. Because what's going on here is that why the liberal heads are exploding is because they're still trying to hide everything they did during the pandemic, during the last 4 years or so. And now these people that Trump are bringing forward might actually expose what they were hiding and what they did. And that's obviously why they're trying to put a damper on this. But here's the other problem, and I'm speaking of putting dampers on things. I was listening to Red Eye Radio the other day. By the way, required listening because it's on in the middle of the night. You listen to the podcast throughout the day when you have time. They were talking about Matt Gaetz probably won't be confirmed, and the reason why they bring it up is because we still have to deal with our own obstacles in the Republican Party, most notably Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, and a few others. I think we've got 53 or 54 Senate votes.
53.
They probably won't vote for Gaetz. Why? Because he's a bomb thrower, and they simply don't like him. So this is the frustration we all continue to have with the Republican Party.
Yeah, I don't know why we have Republicans that aren't really Republicans.
Well, that's because the Republicans don't enforce their own guidelines. I mean, you look at the Republican platform, and it's very specific. This is what we believe. This is what we want to project. And you have people like this, and we had, you know, the list of Romney and so forth, and they should never have ever been admitted into the Republican Party. But that's what we have, and it goes to the individual states. But that's another story. But there's so much to uncover here, and President Trump bringing more and more very, very dynamite picks. I'm just hoping as many get passed through the process as possible. But with RFK, for example, you know, they're knocking him because he's a denier and all that. A denier. Let me see if I can get that right here. What you do, if I'm RFK, what you do is you bring a number of actual medical scientists, medical professionals, and sit them down and say, hey, this is what they said, this is what the CDC didn't do, this is what the AMA didn't do, and you use them as credibility because, again, these people who are criticizing RFK have no medical background on any level. And if you throw that element back at them, that's probably one of your best defenses moving forward to get confirmed.
Yeah, I think he'll be confirmed, don't you?
I don't know. I'm not, because again, I don't trust the sellouts within our own party. We'll have to wait and see. I think a lot of them will get through, but you've already seen, like I saw the story on CBS News right now. Trump's defense secretary, this guy named Pete Hegseth, they've already got a hit piece on him. He's front and center that he was in a sex allegation. Now, there was no proof to this, no evidence whatsoever. It was dismissed. I don't think it went to court or anything. but that's what the media is doing. They're going to try
Yeah.
to dismantle and destroy everyone possible.
Yeah, I tend to not believe anything they say when they say stuff like that. It's just my first reaction is, yeah, BS. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Dan, I wish I had more time, but I got to get back to Gallagher. So you have a fine weekend.
You too, bud. Talk to you Monday.
Take care.